Okay, our in-con system's located here. Most of my paperwork's here, and all these specs on our system's located right here.
Okay. And what I want to be able to do to explain to everybody, this is really the central part of the entire leak detection system. This is the automatic tank gauge. All the componentry that I was explaining earlier, your sump sensors, your interstitial sensor, your probes that's inside your tank are all connected to this. This tells you whether or not you're having a potential leak. It gives you early detection. When you see a sump alarm, this actually gives you a visible and an audio alarm. The tank operator owner will have to come over here, either clear it or see what is actually going on. The whole system, again, is designed and called an automatic tank gauge. The probe that is inside the tank that gives you levels in your tank of how many gallons you have is also performing an automatic tank test once a week in the state of Georgia. You have to have one of those tank tests passed every 30-day period. This box then holds that tank test that you've passed. It also then tells you whether or not your sensors are operating the way they're supposed to on a monthly basis. The best way to do is, like we did today, is to actually make them go into an alarm so you can come in and make sure that those sensors are operating automatically and are doing what they're designed to do. This box maintains a large amount of your documentation requirements. It shows your leak tests, it shows your sensors, it shows you your inventory control based on the probe, again, that's showing you the level of fuel in your tank. This will always be here, and if it goes into alarm, the operator will call us or call a contractor to come out and make sure that it's not in a leak. Okay, James, everything looks good with your monitor. I see that you have your required automatic tank gauge and your registration for your tank that you're supposed to be operating. But let's see the rest of your paperwork to make sure your documentation is correct.
Like Ted, I try to keep everything around the in-con system. Most of our tapes get turned into our accounting department every night. So generally once a month, at the beginning of the month, we pull our leak test, load it into our book here with all of our other tank requirements.
Okay, James. It's good to know. I noticed the very first thing that you have in here is what they call a 7530. It's an EPA form. This is the actual history of your tank. It shows you when it was installed, what type of tank you have, what kind of piping system you have. I do want to mention that the tank gauge not only does automatic line leak tests for systems that are designed like suction systems, that's checking the integrity of your tank. The sensors that are in your sump would be for a suction system. This would perform that similar test on your piping. James, you have a pressurized system, so this does not give you your tank test for your pressurized system. I noticed earlier that you actually had a third-party test in here for your tank tightness. And that's, in fact, here's your results from this last year. They've gone out and tested that line and make sure that that automatic line leak detector on the top of that pump is functioning correctly. Again, in a pressurized system, if you lose pressure in your piping, that will shut off. James, it looks like all of your paperwork is in order, and I know that there's an inspector on site, so let's go ahead and close up and let's let him take a look at it and see how we're doing.
Okay.
Okay, guys, this looks fine here, okay? I've taken a look at your sump sensor, I've taken a look at your spill containment device, your spill bucket, and it is clean, it is free of debris. It's one thing that I do look for. I've also taken a look at your sumps, and it is also clean and free, that there's no product in there. You want to take a look at that. Actually, it's a good idea to go out and actually visually take a look at the sumps, okay?
Okay.
You could do that once a month as part of your monthly monitoring. I've taken a look at your records, and everything seems to be up to date. With your powdered piping, you do have automatic line leak detectors, and they need to be tested annually. And it's also with your pressurized system, and those records are up to date. Your automatic tank gauge, it is working fine, and you are keeping the records like you should. And it seems to be you are in compliance here. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes. How long do we need to keep the records?
The records need to be maintained for at least 12 months.
12 months.
Okay? 12 months for all your leak detection records.
All right.
Okay? Thank you very much. We
My
appreciate
pleasure.
your
Thank you.
efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now that we've seen how to refuel a lot of traffic on the water, let's go to another area that has a lot of traffic and see what the differences are about refueling airliners.